my opinion, young generation of white, black, brown, whatever else there is, you're living at a time of extremism, a time of revolution.
What is it revolting against? The power structure. The American power structure? No. The French power structure? No. The English power structure? No. Then what power structure? An international Western power structure.
And I, for one, will join in with anyone, don't care what color you are, as long as you want to change this miserable condition that exists on this earth. There's got to be a change. People in power have misused it, and now there has to be a change, and a better world has to be built, and the only way it's going to be built is with extreme methods.
So what you and I have got to do is get involved. You and I have to be right there breathing down their throat. Every time they look over their shoulder, we want them to see us. Once those intentions are made known, we can get to the nitty-gritty of the problem. We can get to the core of the problem. We can get to the root of the problem. And then we can correct the problem. Not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to log in, load up, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself in swag while sitting on your sofa, sipping Asian spade, watching messages from the local sponsors because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Scheinberg administration during an uncut broadcast of Schindler's List. It won't consist of Instagram pics posted by Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and Ben Jealous eating dinner together at the Juice Bar on 125th Street, showing off their current situation. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by New Nigga Cinema, and it will not star Nene or Flavor Flav, Cicely Tyson, or Tyler Perry. The revolution will not give you street cred. The revolution will not correct erectile dysfunction. The revolution will not make you an American Idol because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Muhammad popping champagne at your going away to prison party because you got caught by every camera in the neighborhood kicking that dog and robbing that old lady. CNN will not choose the dumbest eyewitness in the crowd to give a concise description of just what happened. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of brothers shooting down pigs on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of brothers shooting down pigs on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Gwyneth Paltrow being run out of Harlem on a Vespa with a brand new weave. There will be no slow motion or ass shots of Buffy the Body gyrating on a rented Rolls Royce with a wet black power t-shirt that she had been saving for just the proper occasion. Real Housewives, Olivia and Fritz, and the Kardashians will no longer be so damn relevant. And women will not care if niggas are making it rain in puddles of sorrow because black people will be in the streets looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no YouTube clips of parrots singing the national anthem or Sweet Brown screaming she ain't got time for that. The theme song will not be written by Kanye West or DJ Khaled, nor will it be sung by 2 Chainz, Nicki Minaj, Taylor Swift, or Trinidad James. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a flash flood, flash fire, or flash mob. You will not have to worry about the gecko in your glove compartment, the tapeworm in your gas tank, or the Trojan man in your back pocket. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not spray on a darker complexion. The revolution will give you wings. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution won't be on demand, brother. The revolution will be live.
Hello and welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the share. Let's get ready to go deep. Because ever since I've been speaking out for the call to justice for R. Kelly, people keep asking me these silly ass questions like, isn't there more important things to talk about? Of course there is. But the main thing is, And what I've tried to demonstrate is, if they can do this so flamboyantly in our face, what hope does a person like you or me have who doesn't have the resources these celebrities may or may not have? It seemed like a couple times a year now we see the same thing: justice for such and such. Once upon a time, when the police officers would see themselves being recorded, they would make sure to stop the things that they were doing they know they weren't supposed to. But now, what the hell? It's like they really don't give a damn. How many videos have we seen when unarmed people are being gunned down? Meanwhile, watch this.
Dude, get on the ground. He's chasing the taser didn't phase him. He's gonna shoot him. He's gonna shoot. Oh shit!
What kind of stuff is it when you can see time and time again of other people being apprehended by the police with no deadly force? Even in this video captured by bystanders, a Caucasian male being tased and even chasing and trying to steal the police officer's car. Yet you see all these unarmed black people being gunned down, even on live Facebook. As I've said since last year, this thing is much bigger than R. Kelly. However, the things going down with him is the prime example to be used. And now I'm going to show you how this Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement are all being financed by the same person. So at the end of the day, it's all to push an agenda. Period.
And I repeat again, what's wrong with this nation and what's at issue at this particular point in our history is not the fact that the American people have lost faith and trust in its leaders, but the very simple fact that over the last 20 years, up to today, the American leadership has not demonstrated, has not had the faith and trust in the American people. And had that faith and trust and straightforwardness been present, this nation would not be in the mess it's in today.
You will not be.
It doesn't take a genius to see that every time we turn around, we're being filled with so much propaganda. But if you do a little bit of deep diving, you will see how all these corporations are tied into these politicians. And all these politicians who are supposed to be working for us aren't doing a damn thing for us. And it's just surprising as I continue to watch things progress. And I watch all these people bash celebrities for not standing for them or speaking out. But what are our tax paying dollars for? We're paying people to do what? Push these agendas onto us. and use these characters to keep us distracted.
Some will probably catch it on TV with chicken hanging from our mouths. It's funny. The media used to love social unrest and political uprisings. It always meant good ratings. By the 1990s, Congress decided 6 companies should own 90% of everything on television. With big businesses controlling the sea of information, people just needed someone to wake them up. There is a calm moment before a king relinquishes his throne. But without a successor, a power vacuum forms. To some, he was a political hat trick. He got Bin Laden, started Obamacare, and stopped the recession. To others, he was a war criminal or a vaguely defined socialist threat. They were all eager to see him go. Obama liked his vision of America. He wanted to keep building it, and he needed a Democrat to pass the torch to. But one man had a different vision.
Sounds like political presidential talk to me. And I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped
Why
off.
would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
The guy that made a living off bet.
I want y'all to stop at some point and go and check out this channel. The title is The Revolution Televised, Episode 1, Awakening of a Generation. And it's an exceptional video, and the channel is on point. But as I pointed out, even going back to the judge and her ties with Obama, the more you the more you look into this case, the more you will see the political connections. The more it will become clear to you what's really going on. And even with this latest scandal, now as I sit back and I just watch everything progress with the latest death that was captured on video, it should be more evident why I said a year ago this whole agenda is bigger than R. Kelly. And the Black Lives Matter, just like the Me Too movement, was hijacked. With everything good, there's always going to be some agitator to bring in the negative. And with every real situation, there's always going to be a situation manipulating the facts. But at the end of the day, I keep hearing all these people saying, why are these people tearing up their own neighborhood? Common sense should tell you it's not these people tearing up their own neighborhood. Now I'm about to try to get through this as best as possible. Because as I'm preparing this video, I go down my photo album and I notice so many of my photos have disappeared. And it's a little complicated for me to retrieve some of them. So if I stumble a bit, just bear with me. But I'm just going to connect how the Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement are all pushing the same agenda, being funded by the same person, George Soros, who also funded prosecutor in R. Kelly's case. And the thing that stood out to me from the beginning was how they tried to manipulate the facts and how nobody cares about the black women. Yet they intentionally used black women to fulfill their agenda. It's very clear now that this whole case against R. Kelly is covered in corruption. Regardless of how you feel about the topic, you have to notice the injustice. So I find it very hypocritical for all these people to be on this Black Lives Matter movement right now and turn a blind eye to the injustice to another Black life that does matter and that has put so much into his trade, his profession, and now to have that all stripped away from him. And have you thought about the bigger picture? The why? Because if you look at the history of Sony, you will notice they have a long history of collecting so much money on the estates of their artists after they've passed away. And even I pointed out an article maybe last year or the year before that in which it was talking about how Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers in particular are benefiting so much off the deaths of certain artists. Yet we let them sit here and publicly ridicule, harass, taunt, defame the character of one of the greatest legends we've had in our lifetime, based on allegations that can easily be disproved, but will have their day in court at the end of the day. It's crazy that just yesterday, my album was full of everything I had broke down from every individual that I intended to do a video on. But as I go through them, it's ridiculous. All my photos are gone. Everything I had, pretty much. And hey, could be coincidence, but it's ridiculous. As I've said before, this is a spiritual war that we are dealing with. And the funny thing is, watching all these people's reaction to the injustice of African Americans that people like me have recognized long time ago. I got this tattoo 3 years ago. And from the moment I got this tattoo, it seemed like I would get pushed off to the side by my employer, even though I knew what it represented. It intimidates some people for black people to unite. So we should keep that in mind with everything we do. People like me, we have always had constant reminders of the injustice of black people. Even being in your hometowns where you see the old plantation houses still being kept up to par as a reminder. The old courthouses that used to bear the signs white only. The only thing difference is the signs are missing. So when I made the conscious decision that I was going to stand with R. Kelly, contrary to the narrative that they want to feed you, that it's all about delusional fans, people like me see the real injustice going on. And the fact of the matter is, this is all about money. All these women they will throw up, all about money. They will tell you about alleged NDAs, but won't tell you about settlements that these women have reached with people who were supposed to be working for R. Kelly, who obviously did not have his best interests in heart, and were, whether they knew it or not, playing their role in setting him up. It doesn't take a genius to see the strategic way they intentionally interrupted this man's finances with the intent to put him in the situation he is in today, to be fighting for his life. At the end of the day, they've made sure, whether he's alive or facing his life in jail, they're going to reap the benefits of this man's hard work over the past 30 years. Are you going to continue to sit by and turn a blind eye to the injustice, since Black Lives Matter, as you say? Funny how I watch all these hypocrites and all these people waiting for these celebrities to speak out. Why? Your tax money pays politicians to speak out. But yet we're so distracted by other ridiculous bullshit, we don't find ourselves in the city hall meetings trying to make a real difference. We just wait until we see the next video that sparks frustration and rage, and we get side-straddled by the facts. I don't think it's a coincidence that you had people like Tank trying to call R. Kelly out a couple years before this whole Surviving R. Kelly debacle. I don't think it's a coincidence that in 2015, that Huffington Post interview went viral. I don't think anything that has happened before our eyes has been a coincidence, and it has been a well orchestrated plan from the beginning. All these politically correct celebrities want to pick and choose the topics they speak out on. And people get frustrated when no one comes to R. Kelly's defense, but they fail to realize in Hollywood, it's all about keeping secrets, and everybody has them. It's been clear to me for a while that certain individuals would love to see a race war. They will use the Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, or anything to incite an emotion. They will corrupt anything meant to be positive, such as trying to twist a simple phrase of Black Lives Matter to making it seem people disregard the lives of others, when that's not the case. They will use agitators to fuel their agenda and play off of people's emotions every chance possible. But are you the person to continue to let these people feed you these false narratives? Or are you going to be the person to change the narrative and recognize that from the beginning with this R. Kelly case, you have been deceived? From the sex tape to the Aaliyah marriage, it's all been a facade. Now, I'm a little tired of these games that people like to play in the comments. So let's address the bullshit right now about the sex tape. Everybody wants to act so brand new. Do you know how many celebrities have sex tapes? Do you know how many times they tried to push this sex tape back in the early 2000s, trying to extort money from R. Kelly? First, they come out with a sex tape. Then they put out that it's a minor involved. But at the end of the day, I do not believe there ever was a minor involved with R. Kelly. I do believe there was a lot of strange activity going on with the people inside his camp who were willing to participate in this false narrative. But let's go ahead and breeze through a few clips of grown women in these sex tapes. In this scene, Montina Woods sued R. Kelly because this tape was leaked. Now, I wanted to include that specific part because I've heard so many people saying, but I heard them say R. Kelly's name. With the video that I saw, I didn't hear R. Kelly's name, but I did hear that little superimposed audio, which doesn't even align to the person speaking. But again, this person sued R. Kelly because other people were trying to extort him, exposing her. Another thing you see, this was dated 1999 in the indictments. They want to keep playing around with this date. Playing around with the fact that this video was chopped up and edited and obviously not an original, therefore should not be any way deemed admissible in court. At this particular point, I wouldn't be surprised if this lady is Sparkle. Considering they always want a little dirt on an individual to get them to cooperate. At the end of the day, they want to keep playing off this tape, but all I see is the things women will do for a celebrity. You will notice that the person they're saying is R. Kelly in this tape has so many different appearances. Yet we're supposed to believe this is R. Kelly. And I wanted to include that last part because, as they stated in the first trial, the person in the video was missing an identifying mark, which we can see there's no mole on this person's back, as stated before. So now they want to keep playing, okay, there's another tape. and overlook the fact that this same sex tape was sold to so many people, and there could be so many different copies. And at the end of the day, they will still face the same problem. Will this tape be admissible in court, considering all these women we see are clearly adults? If you go back and look up any photos from 1999, look at R. Kelly's appearance and the appearance of certain images in this sex tape. A sex tape which can still be readily Googled on the internet. And why? Because if you do your research, you will notice that there were several articles back in 2002 which stated that the people distributing this tape felt it was a fake. Period. So now that so much time has passed, they want to manipulate the facts. Okay. All these people want to profit off of R. Kelly's name. Those close to him and his family members. The same person that was all in the background riding his famous brother's wave now has a more detailed story. And by the way, condolences to Carrie, even though the situation is the way it is. He lost his son a little while ago. And I wouldn't wish death upon no one. Because at the end of the day, all lives do matter. But when we say Black Lives Matter, we say that, and now you see why. Because obviously Black lives are disposable. No matter how many new hashtags we see, at the end of the day, this person, that person, the next person that has the hashtag could be you.
No peace! No peace! No peace! No peace! You are Kelly! You are Kelly! You are Kelly! You...
Central Police Department. My name's being recorded by Sean. Hey, we've had some break-ins in my neighborhood, and there's a real suspicious guy. This guy looks like he's up to no good, or he's on drugs or something. It's raining, and he's just walking around looking about. Okay, and this guy, is he white, black, or Hispanic? Yeah, he's a black male. These assholes, they always get away. Shit, he's running. Are you following him? Yeah. Alright, sir, what is your name? George. George, what's your last name? Zimmerman.
Don't let the propaganda they spew at you blind you from the facts. Our history shows us how they feel about Black women. They can be used and abused, and even used to turn against their own kind. Remember, or even if you don't remember, ask somebody. Pick up a book and get to know your history and know how these people manipulate the facts. Remember the people who were headlining the police force back in the day. Don't let your emotions be played with by propaganda. Ask yourself, if the things they're telling you are true, why is it so easy to debunk the things they say? Even when it comes to the marriage with Aaliyah, why do you need fraudulent documents to prove an event happened if it's legit? Think about all those movies and all those shows that poked fun at real situations and how women have been manipulated time and time again, abused time and time again. And now they want to throw in our face that nobody cares about the black women. At the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. Even if you don't like R. Kelly's lifestyle, you cannot continue to turn a blind eye to the injustice he is now facing. Stand up for injustice for everyone and call out the people who are making false allegations and hold them accountable. You can go back to history in which there's so many women who have made false allegations against men who need to be held accountable. They expect a person like me to fall for the okie doke at how these girls were so manipulated and brainwashed. Have we forgot about him? Merlin Santana, who was set up by a 15-year-old girl who cost him his life at the prime of his. Are we going to keep turning a blind eye at how they are grooming these young women to value money over integrity? To be satisfied being a side chick, a concubine, a sister wife, or whatever you want to call it, and then play victim when things don't turn out in your favor? Yes, R. Kelly had a sex tape, and it featured adult women. And if you had done your research, you would notice that even the girl being thrown as the alleged victim had an alibi in which her bandmates, her siblings, state that they roomed with her while they toured in Europe. But hey, nobody really cares about the truth, right? It's time for us to stop being fooled by the real puppet masters in the world. And if you think they give a damn about our problems, our oppressions, you're sadly mistaken. All they care about are their agendas and how they will profit off of our backs. Wake up. We've known for years how people will quickly throw the blame on minorities. This situation with George Floyd is no different. You have people agitating the situation because they know, just as history repeats itself, they're going to get people all riled up and rioting with the goal in mind. Keep that in mind. I find it comical, T.I. coming out talking about a Black Eye Day on July 7th. Why not July 4th on the day we know doesn't mean shit for minorities? regardless of how you respond to the injustice you see playing out in front of you, just remember, they don't fear the violence. In fact, they want to entice it. Both of these men you see had different tactics, and yet, look how they ended up. And here we are today still fighting about the same fucking things. Here we are seeing people fight their own people for stupid ass reasons. Even when it comes to this case with R. Kelly, so many people want to have inside connections. So many people want to dish the dirt. So many people want to say, I called this attorney, I did this, I did that. But what have you accomplished besides utter chaos? This thing is bigger than R. Kelly, as we see, and as I've said from the beginning. What are you going to do about it?